Good evening and welcome to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. I am your business diva, Melanie Collette, broadcasting live via SHR Media. And I'm in lovely, beautiful Cape May, New Jersey, which is actually not lovely or beautiful at the moment because it looks like it's about to storm out. I am going to dispense with my normal show format because I have NFL Super Bowl champion and author Burgess Owens as my first guest, and he's a very, very busy man, as you all know, and has a ton of interviews, and I wanted to make sure that we got right to the meat of what I wanted to speak with him about, so I'll do all the housekeeping and all that stuff later, but I want to say hi to everybody in the chat quickly. Chris, Stan, Dave, hi to everybody in the chat, everybody out there in SHR Media Land. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Hello, Doug. For those of you, I don't think there's anybody who does not know Burgess Owens, so I'm going to dispense with the, with all the bio and all of that, and just introduce Mr. Burgess Owens, NFL football great, and Super Bowl champion and author of his latest book, Why We Stand. How are you, Mr. Owens?
Melanie, I'm doing absolutely fine. And just so you know, out in Salt Lake City is lovely and beautiful. So please come and visit anytime you get a chance.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Excellent. Well, listen, John Burnett is here. Richard's here. Donald's here. Hello. I hope everybody's doing well. So, Burgess, I was talking to you before we got on the air about your article. I want to make sure that I have the title absolutely correct. The Black Community's 911 and Pearl Harbor. And I was telling you that I posted it on my Facebook page. And our guest for the second hour, Robert Houston, is here. I want to give him a shout out. John War is here, and Marsha is here in the Facey chat. But I wanted to talk to you about that article because I posted it on my Facebook page, as I explained to you. And as what normally happens on my Facebook page, I could post, like, I think kittens are awesome, and somebody would say, fight me. Like, that's just how my Facebook page is. And I thought your article was fantastic and on point, and someone disagreed, and a fight ensued. So please tell us I tagged the person in the post, so hopefully he'll join us in the live stream and ask some questions. I invited him so that he could ask you some questions directly about the article. But tell us what was on your mind behind that article.
First of all, and I appreciate you having that invite. You know, Melanie, what I love about our country is that we have always been the country that believes in thought, in perspective, and education. And then whenever we talk with respect with each other, even if we don't agree, we can be respectful in the process, and we move forward that way. So anybody who has issues with my thought process, please call. Love to chat with you.
He's here. I just saw him. Joseph just joined the chat.
Well, let me give you a little bit of background so I can tell you exactly what the black race experience is exactly like 9/11 or Pearl Harbor. And we need to start off with a little perspective on our history. You know, what Karl Marx, the communist, said back in the 1800s was the first battleground is rewriting history. So we can do a history that people have no idea of how well the black race is doing 40 years after the end of slavery. And this is happening, by the way, because any culture, any people that live in the country gives freedom, opportunity, and hope will do the exact same thing that my race did at the beginning and middle of 1900s. In 1905, there's a little college down in Tuskegee, Alabama, all black, that was producing more self-made millionaires than Harvard, Yale, and Princeton combined. 1905. In 1905, we had over 16 different countries coming to Tuskegee to learn how to do agriculture because we were leading the charge in that technology. For the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was the black community that led our country in terms of the commitment of men to marriage, the percentage of entrepreneurs, the growth of the middle class, the percentage of men to education, and now we've flipped that to we're the bottom of all of that within 40, 50 years after, quote, the Civil Rights days. So what's happened to our race very simply is this. We no longer have the same pride in our young men, our young women, our children, where we're convinced our black girls, close to 2,000 per day, that killing their babies is health care. We've been able to sit back and watch this. In the state of California, 75% of the black boys, this came out last year, 75% of the black boys in the state of California did not pass standard reading and writing tests. Now, in 2018, if you can't read and write, you're going you're gonna go become part of the game. Your life is gonna be short. You're gonna be a mess you're not to be a value at all to our society. And yet we have in our country at this point the lowest expectation for any race that's out there. So what's happened to us very simply, when you're looking at the disaster that's happened in 1960s, we bought on to the atheist, Marxist, and socialist agenda, in which our race was told that we cannot proceed without somebody else's position. And we were told that entrepreneurship is not where it's at, but to get in line and wait for welfare. We have been decimated. Millions and millions of Black Americans are not alive today because of what's happened through policies over the last 50 to 60 years. And I don't care whether it's one night, one day, or if it's a series of 40 or 50 years, when Americans are attacked and murdered and decimated the way it happened on 9/11 or Pearl Harbor, it's the same end result. Americans are attacked. We need to, as a country, recognize that we have the same value to those who lost their lives in those particular days and stand up and fight against those ideologies, those policies that's put our country and this race in the way it has up to today. By the way, we are coming back. We're leaving the plantation, and as these new results are coming out, we're getting more jobs, more opportunities to start dealing with the education deficit, and we're going to come back strong the way we were back when I was growing up in the 1960s.
Indeed. And I'm taking in all that you said, and I was thinking about what you said about about us coming back, and about the welfare system, about the school system, and about the need about instilling in us as a people that we need to have somebody else do for us. And I thought to myself, what is more enslaving than that thought?
Yeah, Melody, if I can say this, because I was very fortunate about 5-6 years ago to stumble upon a little bit of my history, which I think every American should do. If we ever took the time to go back and learn our history, we'd be very, very, very proud of what we've done together as a people, across the board, every race. And my great-great-grandfather, Burgess Owens, Burgess, came across in 1848 and developed a slave ship, sold on an auction block in Charleston, South Carolina. But he escaped with the help, as a young man, an orphan, escaped with the help of other Black slaves. Now, here's the difference. These men that escaped, there's a difference in physical slavery and mental slavery. These people they were physical slaves in chains, but in their mind they believed in freedom. And they thought about how to escape, and they did. Not only did he escape, but he went out to the west, out to Texas, became a successful entrepreneur, owned 100 acres of land, bought in 2 years, started the first Black church, the first Black elementary school, the pillar of his community, because he was a free American and proud American. By the way, he was also a Republican. So this is what happens when you have mental freedom versus mental slavery. And today, what the Democratic Party has done to the Black community, look at every single community that they oversee, every single one, you see nothing but misery, because there's hopelessness, there's mental slavery, and there are people waiting for white people or somebody else to do for them what they should do for themselves in a free country. So if we understand that and go out and serve these young people, teach them our history, and let them know that they're special enough to overcome every single obstacle, and every obstacle is there for them to grow and become better and to become a productive American. And we can help them to do that, and we'll get our country back in a big, big way.
Indeed. And this was before. This was not, recent that you're talking about. This is your history. But, that's not what we're telling kids in public school. You know that. I'm a former public school teacher. And that's not what we're telling public school teachers. I had a run-in, an incident, a fight, argument, if you will, with one of my education professors, because I was told, while she was looking in my Black face, basically, standing there with the dad with a PhD and in a master's program myself, that Black kids need to be able to speak Ebonics and be able to speak according to their culture, and need to be able to be taught that way in the classroom. She was I didn't understand how she figured she was going to get away with that, and I was going to be cool with that thought. And I have 2 nephews, and I very plainly and clearly let her know that I disagreed. And I didn't care what any of their studies said. I said, what you're communicating to my nephews and boys like them is that they're not capable of learning English. I can't think of anything more racist than that.
Well, it's interesting how the left works, how they think. It is the most demeaning thing in the world for you to tell your kids that because you can't think, because you can't compete, we're going to develop an entire new language for you. And we still have to know how adverbs or verbs or nouns work together. You can speak the way you want to, but just know when you get done, you're not going to get a job. Because nobody's going to hire you speaking Ebonics. And here's the thing that we have to remember. We've had our enemy through the last 100 years. We've had the white supremacists. The white supremacists were responsible for KKK responsible for 4,000 lives lynching. Over 1,300 of those were white, by the way. The rest were blacks. Then we have the black elitists. The black elitists set aside and allowed the matadors and allowed our race to be attacked by the leftists, in which we're allowing ourselves to think abortion is health care, but to think that our boys cannot think, cannot provide, cannot lead. And we raise them to be whiners, weenies, and wefts. And so we need to stand up against these leftists because they are racist. They target our race. We need to stand up against them and make sure that we teach our kids to man up and not go in that direction.
Eric, I couldn't agree more. Eric Jessup in the chat says, indoctrination over education. And he also said, we're fighting 2 generations of infiltration and hashtag soft bigotry.
Yes. Can I add to that? Because he just nailed it. But it's been more than two generations. It's actually been back as far as 1910. Remember, I talked about what was happening in 1905. We were leading in terms of the self-made millionaires. We had the first self-made female millionaire, which was Madam C.J. Walker in 1915.
Yes.
We had all kinds of success going on. But here's the deal. Then came along in 1910 an organization called NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. The problem is that it was not started by colored people. It was started by 21 white socialist, Marxist, atheist, race-controlled Democrats. That their goal was to demean every bit of our progress, to attack people like Booker T. Washington, to stop our growth with entrepreneurship, and to turn us into welfare people. And they succeeded. For the last 50, 60 years, it's the NAACP that's heading the charge with abortionists. It's heading the charge with keeping our kids in these dumb schools, not being educated. It's about elitism. And unfortunately, we have blacks in our race who see themselves as genetically more superior than the rest of us, and they look at their education, they look at their money in the bank, and they see themselves as a cusp above the rest of us, and they don't mind sacrificing their race for profit and prestige. And unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with. And I have that in my book, by the way, because we've been surrounded by black elitists, and we need to get past those guys.
You said a mouthful there, and I don't know if everybody caught what he just said about there being black elitists among us that allow allow our race to be attacked. And what came to my mind was, these are probably the same folks that own slaves, same black. I mean, really, probably the same.
Do you know that there are people in your audience that have no idea that blacks own black slaves? They have not been taught that little bit of history. But you're right. Elitists are elitists, and they are the worst thing that can happen to any race. And believe me, we have our hands full in our race ourselves. We got to get past that. Be a humble, serving race. Look out for each other. Lift each other up the way we did in the generations past, and move past the elitist segment of our country.
Exactly. But that was the first, and I think many people who are not black have no idea about the intra racism that goes on in the black community, and about how there is I mean, you said a mouthful when you said there's a segment of our race that thinks they're better than everybody else, and that's been going on since the beginning of time. That whole
first of all, I'm so glad your audience is hearing this stuff because they probably have not this is probably the first time they've heard it from you. But there are many people out there that have not heard that there was actually segregation within the black community when there was segregation outside the white community. And that segregation has been going on since the early 1900s when you have the people like the NAACP. Basically, they were educated, light-skinned, wavy-haired blacks who saw themselves as a cut above the rest. They called themselves the Talented Ten.
Yep.
And I remember experiencing this when I was going up to Tallahassee in the mid-'60s. My dad was dark-skinned. He was his professor, but he showed me very quickly what elitists were about and what they thought. They wanted to keep everybody who was not like them separated from them. So even in the black community, they had blacks who separated themselves purposely. They didn't allow other blacks to come into their clubs. They allowed them to come into their neighborhoods. And that is, again, unfortunately, the way that the people don't understand the Judeo-Christian values our country's been based on. If they don't get that, there's a very high tendency to become look at people from outside in versus inside out.
Absolutely. And Chris Levels actually brought up the Talented 10 right before you said it. He brought that up. And yeah, he did. And actually, he's a show host himself. He's got a show called Prophecy in Politics. Actually, I might want to hook your publicist up with him. It's a great show, and you might want to be a guest on his show as well. And Marcia Smith commented, "We're segregated by books, education, and politics." Also very true. Eric Jessup said, "We tell kids to stay in school, but we are not learning the truth and think." You call a liar. Yeah, you're called a liar when you correct them. True.
That's so true. That's so true. Well, think about this. And the early 1900s, our race understood the value of education. That's why Booker T. Washington did what he did. Matter of fact, not only did he go out and start Tuskegee in the 1800s, it became one of the most successful black colleges, but he also networked. He was also able to get people like Julius Rosenbaum, who started Susan Robot, and Andrew Carnegie to invest in the black schools. And there were over 4,700 black schools in 15 states because of this collaboration of people who understood what education was all about. And that's why you had in those days one of those small black colleges in the southern, and I wish I remember the name, that actually beat USC, the leading national champion in debate in early 1930s, which is a big deal. Because one of the things that whites in those days, I would say, those that were racist, they put down the black race in terms of the lack of intelligence. And so our race, very simply, instead of feeling sorry for ourselves or demanding that somebody change the way people thought, they went out and went to work. They started educating their kids. They started making sure they understood how to speak, how to think, how to compete. And we went out and kicked butt, big time. And that's what the 40s, 50s, and 60s shows, that any race in this country, I don't care what kind of parameters are put around them to keep them down. If they're given freedom, opportunity, and hope, they'll overcome all those obstacles. And that's what our race did. And it's time for us to teach our kids what our great past did, so they know what's available to them. To be to stand up and man up, stop complaining, and stop letting people make you feel like a victim. The biggest put down to my dad's generation was they looked as a victim. And we have people today proud of that fact. And people look at them and think somebody can't do without them. We need to get past that. That's what socialists and Marxists and atheists do. That's not what people who believe in God do. People who believe in God feel very simply that we all are capable of being special, of overcoming. And if you can do it, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. That's the way the Judeo-Christian value system is set up. And we need to get back to that as the way our country's been built in a big way.
Amen. As our mutual friend Lonnie Poindexter and host of Lion Chasers says, you plus Jesus is the majority. There we
go. He's a good man. He's a good man, by the way.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Now, apparently, no one has told Colin Kaepernick about this. You like that transition? That was like really subtle, wasn't it? You like that?
Yeah. Well, let me just say something. Let me say something about Marxists. And it's bad to say that we've allowed our colleges to become the manufacturing arm of Marxism and socialism and atheism. But when you have people, and this is what's sad about very fast success in this country. Again, I played football, so I know it was a different day in terms of kind of income. but I know the idea. I know the feelings when you become very successful at a young age, make a lot of money, and everybody telling you that you're all that. You start believing it. And unfortunately, have people who truly believe that they're more special than the rest of us. So they think, from their perspective, that the best they can do is tell people that they're lucky, that what they did, you can't do, and what it does is steal the dreams of those who are looking to them as examples. The worst thing that people like Colin Kaepernick can do to our race, our kids, for those who look up to them, is tell them that they can't overcome the obstacles like he did. But that's what elitists do. They live a great American dream. They live a great lifestyle. They give the kids the best colleges. They drive the best cars, the best neighborhoods, travel continue around the world, and tell every other American how they can't do it because American white races won't let them do it. It's because that kind of language, that kind of message allows them to stay in power, them to make the income they're going to make. It's a very narcissistic and very selfish way, but again, that's the way of Marxism, socialism, and we need to teach our kids that that they can do much better by believing that they are very special and overcome any kind of obstacle that they're faced with.
Now we have some dissent in the Facebook chat. Eric Jessup says that that's not the Kaepernick message. I've heard this before among some conservatives that are well melanated like ourselves, and that are on Kaepernick's side. What do you say to Black conservatives that are?
Here's what I say. First of all, you stand for our country because it gave you an opportunity to make $12 million in 1 year. You go out and build a business that allows young men to have a chance to work and have a job and give them hope that they can make it and move forward. You tell our men that are 70% of them that are forsaking our families to man up and take care of your kids. You tell your young men to go out and get education so they go out and produce. And stop telling our young people that white people stop them from moving forward. What a wimpy way of any man to say, I'm not succeeding because white people won't let me do it. That to me is the most, you talk about a way of looking down of our own race. If we end up addressing the problems that we have, first of all, if our kids not educated, they're going to go out and do higher crime. 90% of blacks being killed today are killed by black people, not by white cops. If we teach our kids to respect the law, respect our flag, respect women, respect authority, then we won't be at the very cusp of every single issue when it comes down to negative, when it comes down to crime. We're just doing the crime, guys. The reason we're doing the crime is we're not giving our kids hope. So people like Kaepernick, if you want to do something, get to work. Stop just running around and signing autographs and making millions of dollars on this message. Get to work. Get a business, hire your kids, and tell them they can do it. That's what every parent does in this country. They don't worry about telling their kids, hey guys, you can't make it because white people won't let you do it. What kind of parent is that? And what kind of leader is that? He's not a leader for the American way. He's a leader for Marxism. Very simple.
Wow, I'm not sure you made it really clear what your position was on that, Burgess.
Mel, can I just say this? And I say that with passion. And I really hope that Eric can listen to what I'm saying, do some homework. First of all, recognize how great our country's been for all of us. But just know this, we cannot move ahead if we allow the, quote, leaders in our country to tell our kids what they can't do. And I just went through the numbers of how many black kids in the state of California. 75% cannot read and write. And yet, when I say that, no one takes alarm. Eric, no one else says, that can't be right. That can't be right. They accept it because it is exactly what's being expected of our race now. And once we start looking down our race, I just want to make this one quick. I don't want to lose this one thought.
No, keep going.
Go back from 1960s. Look at Martin Luther King. Look at his leadership. During the summers of the 60s, when they were fighting against Jim Crow laws and KKK, note that they were wearing white shirts, dark ties, and their leadership was very articulate. They spoke with passion and with common sense and with articulation and education. That's because not only were they fighting the Jim Crow laws, they were fighting the thought that was being put out that blacks were not able to think, that we weren't able to produce, that we were reckless and lazy, and all those things that the left, that the Democrats at that time was pushing out. Well, we're back to that right now. You go to BET, Black Entertainment Television, and what you see there is exactly what the 1960s KKK thought about black people. They're not educated. They got tattoos everywhere. They have kids everywhere not taken care of. They can't speak unless they're rapping. This is the message that's been given out now by the leftists. And by the way, BET is owned by white people, by white Democrats.
I know.
Just like NAACP was owned by white people, white Democrats. So the message is coming through our race, that's meeting our boys, our young men. So they're not going up to be strong, courageous leadership men. Is white liberal Democrats. That's our enemy, along with black elitists who stand as matadors and let them in to make damage on our race, like the 9/11 and Pearl Harbor.
Absolutely. And from a macro perspective, the enemy is the enemy. Let's not forget what this is all about. What this really is all about is our destruction. Bottom line, the enemy, it's a distraction.
It is, and Melody, we live in a country that, because we're built on the Judeo-Christian values, which was very, very big, by the way. When our race came out of slavery, we had no place to turn but to God, and that's why they did so well in the early 1900s, because we were such a Christian-based religion, a race, a community, that we believe we can overcome anything with the help of them. So it's our Judeo-Christian values against Marxism, socialism, and atheism that we're fighting, not each other. The fact that Eric and I can disagree is absolutely fine. We can sit down and have a very respectful disagreement, walk away experience and still not be on the same page. But what happens when you bring in the other, that leftist, the real anger of socialists and Marxists, they don't want to have arguments. They don't want to have disagreements. They want to have fights. They want to set you up. They want to bully you. They want to damage you. They want to destroy you. That is the other side of Judeo-Christian values. So let's understand what we're up against, guys. And it's not a race thing. It's not a gender thing. It's those who want to divide us because they hate God. And we have to understand that and recognize we just cannot continue to vote for those kind of ideologies.
That's right. Amen. Before I let you go, can you tell everybody where we can find the book, Why We Stand? What, did I say that right?
Okay.
I didn't look at it.
You can find it. It's a pre-sales on Amazon.com. My previous book is still available. It's called Liberalism: How to Turn Good Men into Whiners, Leaders, and Wimps. And you can also find me on my Facebook page at official Burgess Owens, which I'm communicating all the time about our history in particular, or my website, BurgessOwensTalk.com. And Melanie, let's do this as often as possible. I love this, and I love the fact your audience kind of took part. And guys, let's continue to talk together. We'll get through this thing and make it right. Okay?
I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show, Burgess. It's good talking to you again.
Thank you, Mel. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Yep, absolutely. Have a good one. Well, you are listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. That was my guest, NFL Super Bowl champion and author, Burgess Owens. We are going to take a break, and we'll be right back. I want to thank everybody for listening.
The Word of God clearly states that we all come short of the glory of God. Basically, we are all sinners and mess up, not just men and Republicans. LOI. Ron Edwards on today's page from the Edwards Notebook. One of the bedrocks of the American legal system is the presumption of innocence until one is proven guilty. Unfortunately, due to multiple decades of indoctrinating generation after generation of American students into becoming knee-jerk wimpus Americanus apologeticus American-hating robots. At the same time, students and others are convinced that merely wanting to protect our borders and build a needed wall is racist and bigoted. Even more insane is the belief among many Americans is that a female must be believed no matter what if she accuses a Republican or a constitutional scholar of wrongdoing, especially if the accusation is sexual in nature. Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono believes that all female accusations against men must be believed simply because it is a female making the accusation. Such idiocy only perpetuates the buffoonery image of leftists whose goals are to literally destroy this republic through lies and division. Ultimately, they shall fail, and our republic will be indivisible with liberty and justice for all. I'm Ron Edwards. Join me Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on AmericanMatters.us and SHRmedia.com. And Sunday midnights on Talk America Radio Network.
Ron Edwards, the new voice of America.
Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition. Right now, you can get the credit you deserve. Just visit MrCreditRepair.biz. Let their expert credit repair specialists remove late payments, charge-offs, collections, even old bankruptcies fast and easy. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Why go anyplace else? Increase your credit score today. At Mr. Credit, you always get a quality service, all at our everyday discounted price. Stop getting turned down for cars, credit cards, or even new homes. Visit MrCreditRepair.biz today. That's MrCreditRepair.biz. Your credit repair is our #1 priority.
Hello, and welcome to this week's Money Talk Minute. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, and this week's Money Talk Minute is about undervalued financial advice. And I will admit that this was not my original idea. I was doing some research on what to do this week's Money Talk Minute about, and I found a blog post by a Mr. Ben Carlson, and it struck me. It's more of a philosophical type of financial advice, but I thought it was important. And it's 3 things that are just really, I thought, important financial advice to live by, so I thought I would give it a shot. So there are 3 undervalued financial principles or advice to live by that I thought my audience could benefit from. So the first one that he posted was avoid the allure of more. And what does that mean? Well, it means when you come by a chunk of money or you make a lot of money, there's a temptation to want more. And this is a dangerous temptation. Not that it's not okay to make money, but a lot of times what happens is you underappreciate having that money, and you start becoming kind of obsessed with making more money, obsessed to the point where you neglect other things. And so the first thing that he listed as financial advice is to avoid the allure of more. Kind of focus on making that money work for you and not so much working toward, grabbing more bundles of money. Focus, be educated, that kind of thing. The second thing that he said was that envy is more expensive than gratitude. And the article pointed out that a lot of times we compare ourselves to our neighbors when, in fact, overall, the entire world is doing better financially than our ancestors. But we don't appreciate that. We look at our next door neighbor who we think is doing better than we are, and we become envious of this, and therefore we are constantly striving to do better than the next person. And, people will tell you, the world is not doing well economically, when in fact, historically, that is not true. And I thought that was an excellent point, and we need to be careful about that. And then the last point was time and health matter more than wealth. And I think we heard that, especially those of us who are of a certain age, have heard this over and over again as we continue to move forward. We heard that, no older person as they reach their golden years has ever said, I wish I had worked more. They've always said they wish they had spent more time, they wish they had taken better care of their health. They wish they had spent more time with their family, they had vacationed more. No one wished they had worked more. And so, as far as financial advice is concerned, your time is just way more valuable than making more money. So, I thought this article had a really good impact on me, and I thought it might benefit the audience. So that's your Money Talk Minute for this week. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. If you have any questions about things like college funding or protecting your retirement or life insurance, be sure to give me a call or email me at moneytalkwithmelanie, or you can call me at 937-756-6639. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you soon. Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. I hope everyone is doing well and that you enjoyed the first part of the show with Mr. Burgess Owens. I thought he absolutely killed. I hope you guys think so too. I also did not mention, because we didn't do the my usual typical open. I didn't properly introduce a brand new sponsor, and he is also going to be the guest for the second hour around 6:05, Mr. Credit Repair himself, Robert Houston. So I'm excited that I'm going to have him on for the second hour. He's a senior credit analyst from Mr. Credit Repair, Inc. He's going to talk to us about taking steps to repair and restore your personal credit. And it's very obviously a very important topic. So I'm excited that I'm going to have him on the show, and he is also a brand new Money Talk with Melanie sponsor. So I am super duper excited about that. I figured for the next few minutes I would talk to you guys. There's nothing really much going on in the news, so not really much to talk about. But if you have, I'm just kidding. So if you have been paying attention, you've noticed that Kavanaugh, it looks like barring any problems, it looks like Justice Kavanaugh is going to have the votes to become a Supreme Court justice. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm not 100% confident that the Democrats aren't going to try anything crazy. I'm not. I think they've lost their ever-loving minds. So, right now it looks like he has the votes, but everybody's, he has, I think, a couple more votes than he needs, but I'm still nervous. I don't trust them. I honestly do not trust them. So I'm a little concerned about that. I'm still concerned about the midterms. I don't know about you guys. Yeah, Katina said that the liberals are plotting the second. I agree. I mean, some of us are, some conservatives are already taking a victory lap, but I believe that they are plotting something dastardly as we speak. I was texting, exactly, Marcia. I was texting with my friends. I'm sure all of us probably have those political friends that we talk to all the time. And we were texting earlier, kind of, woohoo, yay, he's going to pass. But, I was the one, the center, that was like, they're probably planning something horrible right now. So, Katina said they're demons. Of course they're going to pull something. Exactly. So, I'm kind of like, brace myself. Chris Lovell said Democrats put the cray-cray in cray. Put the cray in cray-cray. It's true. And they don't learn. And Katina, I tend to agree with you on it being demonic, because who else doesn't learn? Who else doesn't learn like they don't learn? They keep pulling the same stuff over and over again, and they don't learn. Like what they did with this whole thing with Judge Kavanaugh was almost predictable. They try to, they do everything super duper like shady and conniving, and they don't learn. Like, instead of just like focusing on like trying to win honestly and not being like super conniving, no, that's not how they do things. Because they have, the only God that they have is themselves. That's kind of how I feel about it. I don't understand why they don't learn. I'm not saying that Republicans aren't doing their own shady stuff. I'm sure that they are. But I'm saying what they are doing is just insane. It's going to be a super narrow vote that they have tomorrow. I think the most narrow in history, which, is crazy. Eric said maybe we'll get lucky and they will succeed. Barrett was better. Barrett was better? Really, Eric? Katina said they are unhinged and driven by madness and pure evil. Yeah, Soros funded the rioters. That's the other thing. Like, none of it's organic. They have no problem with like pretending just to get their way. They do not care about the American people at all. And I am in fear. I was on BZ's. Yes, really, Eric. Why do you say that, Eric? That merit? Why do you say that? I was on BZ, the Bloviating Zeppelin's show last night out of California. He's another great host on SHR Media, and we were talking about this, and he was asking me from a political perspective what I thought, like, if we were going to keep both houses, and what would happen if, by some miracle, we kept both houses and have the presidency and have the Supreme Court. Katina said, I'm attending the conference tomorrow, and they better not try me. I'm always down to fight. I know. Oh, if you've ever been on Katina Person's Facebook page, you know this is very true. But he asked me what did I think was going to happen if we actually keep. Which I'm telling you, I think we are going to keep both houses after this. I do. Marsha said if they cared about the American people, they would not stand in the way, exactly, of American balance of powers that ultimately keep us free. Right. So, it's scary. I said if we keep all the houses, plus have the Supreme Court, I fear what is going to happen. And I think that is what's going to happen. I think we are going to keep both houses. I think it'll be narrow, but I think we're going to end up keeping both houses because you're never Trumpers. You're Republicans that are never Trumpers. You're Trumpers. You're independents that are Trumpers. You're baseline Republicans. Like everybody's kind of unified on this one. Like, we just did not have enough evidence to put this man through what we put him through. So. People are mad. Katina said, they didn't want Kavanaugh. It's true. Not to want Kavanaugh is insane. Trump can pick the lady as his next pick. And they will fight her too. Well, here's the thing though, Katina. For them, it's a matter of timing. And they would have fought her too. It's just they're just trying to buy time because they think they're going to win one of the houses. They're doing the same thing they did in the presidential. They're trying to be strategic, and they're not paying attention to the American people. I wholeheartedly believe that they really thought they could beat Trump, that they were instrumental in getting him to be our nominee because they thought he could be beaten. I think they were scared to death of Marco Rubio because they knew he could beat Hillary, and and probably Ted Cruz maybe as well, and they purposely tried to get Donald Trump to be our nominee because they thought they could beat him. And when you screw around like that with the American people, this is what you get. I mean, the show is good when I'm watching while watching baseball, but you really need... Marsha, I appreciate that, honey. I do. Thank you so much. You're attending the Walkaway March in D.C. I might meet you there, Katina. If I'm available, I might be there. I might be doing that. I think that's on my calendar, the Walkaway March in D.C. I might be hanging out in the DMV that day. But yeah, what they're doing is insane. And like I said, they're not learning. Clearly, they're not getting it. I don't. It's like, and the only thing to explain that, like when someone just keeps coming at you, and it's completely unreasonable, demonic is the only way you can describe that type of behavior, that type of energy. I mean, you kind of hate to go there, but like, what else is it? And really, they want to maintain baby killing, like so much so that they can't even handle the law going back to the state. Let's just say Roe v. Wade goes away. And it goes back to the state. Like, do you really think, like, New Jersey, where I live, is going to outlaw abortion? No. Do you think California is going to outlaw abortion? Of course not. Like, is it going to be greatly restricted? Probably. Right? Now, every time I mention abortion, my feed goes down. I'll be surprised if my live goes down. But do you think it's going to be completely... do I think it'll be restricted? Sure. It probably will be. Is that a bad thing? That's a horrible thing all of a sudden. That's terrible. There'll be less abortions. I don't know if people saw on my page yesterday. I was in an office where they were playing local ads in the Philadelphia market, and one of the commercials, had this voice, this foreboding female voice saying, and I don't even know who the candidate was, he's even for defunding Planned Parenthood, as if it were some horrible thing. And I just could not. I couldn't gather. You would think they were saying there's a predator outside your door. Like that was like the kind of. I don't. Katina said that's why they are doing this. They wish they could use the courts to push their agenda. Right. Instead of I don't know, the laws. I heard Congress, Katina, maybe. I heard Geraldo say. They were talking about this on a 5, and Geraldo was on there. And they were Eric, they can't get it through Congress, which means the people don't want it. So if they can't get it through Congress and the people don't want it, then leave it alone. I mean, really. But they were talking about whether or not, the Kavanaugh election will do away with Roe v. Wade. And, Jesse Waters was saying it's probably not going to affect Roe v. Wade, blah, blah, blah. And Geraldo was like, well, they keep pushing the date back, and they're going to use technology. Now, I don't know what Geraldo's, official position is on life. I don't know if he's pro-life or pro-choice. Sounded to me like he's pro-choice. But I thought to myself, did he even understand what he was saying? They keep pushing back the date. Okay. By pushing back the date, you mean they keep making the window smaller and smaller that you can kill a baby. He's pro. Do you understand what he was saying? And that they'll use technology to do it. So in other words, they will use technology so that the mother and the father and the whole world understands how much alive the baby actually is, that it's not a clump of cells. They'll use technology to prove that. And somehow, this is a bad thing. So, I said on my page, Robert Marshall's here in the chat. Hello, Robert Marshall. We're not talking about knives and peanuts today, so you're safe. Don't even worry. That's an inside joke, kinda. Exactly. So, I said on my Facebook page when I was talking about this, if you are pro-choice, wouldn't any honest person want to know what it is that you're for? Wouldn't you want to know, as an honest person, what it is that you're voting for, what it is that you're doing? And I ask a lot of people this who talk about abortion in terms of terminating pregnancy and these very sterile, friendly, diplomatic terms that they use. And I ask people all the time, do you know what it actually is? Because if you knew what it actually was, I'm not sure you'd be pro-choice. It's not, like a lethal injection. Not how it works. And I encourage people to look it up. If you're pro-choice and you've never looked into exactly what it is, before you decide to continue to support that, I encourage you to look it up and see exactly what the procedure is. And then decide if you're still pro-choice. See what you're supporting. See what the implications are to that clump of cells or that fetus. And then see if you're still pro-choice. If you are, then God bless you. Maybe. But, don't come at me about, wow, Chris. But don't Chris in the Facey chat. But don't come at me, about my stance when I know fully what it is that I'm supporting and why I'm supporting it. Or anyone else who's pro-life. So, that's just how it is. We're going to go. That's just how it is. And I said so. Fight me. Anyway, you're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. And our next hour, we will have Mr. Robert Houston, Senior Credit Analyst, Mr. Credit Repair. He's going to talk to us about taking steps to restore your personal credit. He is also our brand new sponsor. I want to welcome him aboard. So excited to have him as a sponsor of Money Talk with Melanie. We will be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake extreme media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Miller. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplanestalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's no surrender ever, because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clan. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only, all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads against tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday night. Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chenum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics,
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
and all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events? All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So, the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw it.
And I know, insidious. You know, and we talked about this for, man, a good, for the last 3 years. And finally coming to fruition.
You know it's all over, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of...
It's amazing. It's kind of eerie. Like a poltergeisty thing.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, and I am back for the second hour. I am wondering whether or not, looks like my Facebook feed went down. That's okay. That's why I sounded a little bit crazy for a second there. But I am going to go back on for the second hour real quick. Just give me one moment to get right back on for the second hour, and I can always do that edit thing later. I was like, what just happened? Because technology. What are you going to do? So let me just do that live stream thing real quick. Okay, I'm back up. Anyway, so everybody probably just got kicked out the live stream and was like, what the heck just happened? But that's what just happened. I got kicked out of live stream. Like, either I got kicked out or I accidentally ended it on my own, which I am prone to doing. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, in a few moments, we're gonna, hey, Chris, you guys are back. Hi. In a few moments, we're going to have, Robert Houston, who's a brand new sponsor to Money Talk with Melanie, he's going to talk to us about taking steps to restore your credit. He's also going to talk to us about like some detail stuff about actually he's calling in right this moment. I'm very excited to have him, but it looks like he's calling in on the wrong number. Give me 1 second. Mr. Houston, are you calling in on the call-in number or my cell phone number? It looks like my cell phone number.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I called the wrong number.
That's okay. That's okay.
What? That's me?
Call me for the radio number so that the audience can hear you.
Oh, that's the number on the
yes.
On the marquee. Okay.
Correct.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right. My guest will be back in a minute. This happens in live radio. Yes, glad you. I actually think I actually, to be honest, guys, I think I might have hit in live video. Like I seriously might have done that. Hi. I've done it before. Like I meant to hit enter and I hit in live video. At least I did it like at a good time. Like there was like a break. But the guest will be calling back in 1 second. Hi, Bob. Hi, Lee. How are you guys doing? Welcome back, those of you who were in the first live feed and you came back for a second. You guys are truly dedicated Money Talk with Melanie fans for sure. I'm glad it was. Well, Katina, if you'd behave yourself, you wouldn't have these problems, but you are not really prone to behaving yourself, just saying, on Facebook. And neither am I, but I'm a little offended that I have not been thrown in Facebook jail yet. Like, I think Mark doesn't like me. Like, I feel like the ugly girl at the prom who doesn't get asked to dance or something. Hey, Chloe. Hey, John. How are you? Doug, you're back. Chris, hello. Yeah, I'm really, I'm feeling some type of way that Mark Z is not giving me any attention. Like, I cannot get thrown out. I can't get thrown into Facebook jail. I'm just way too nice, apparently. Although I did get, I've had a couple of my posts removed. That has happened. But because some pansies apparently just couldn't handle my post. So I mean that's just why would you report somebody? Like, who does that? What kind of loser reports someone? To me, it feels like an awfully weak move. That's just my opinion. It's a super weak move. It's not something I would like. Really, you didn't like the post, so you report someone? Like, what is that? But somebody did, and I thought it was funny. I mean, it was sexist, but sometimes sexism is funny. That's good. When I run for election for something, that's going to be a clip that they play if I ever run for election, like over and over again. Melanie Collette says, sometimes I'm calling my guest because I'm like, where is he? Melanie Collette says sometimes sexism is funny. That's how it's going to.
It's a great day at Mr. Credit Repair. This is Robert.
Hi! How are you?
Hey. Oh my God! Hey, I apologize. I'm gonna tell you. Can I tell you a funny story real quick? I'll be just a couple seconds.
Sure.
I had to clean out. I had a showing today. So, and I run a mortgage company and a real estate brokerage as well. So, I had a showing and had to take some chairs and an old barbecue grill and a bunch of stuff to the dump. So we hightailed it up there to the dump, and then made it back. And I made it back on time. And my buddy with his truck. I said, "Hey, dude, I got a 3:05 call time, man. We got to get back." And so, by the grace of God, we did make it back, and then I got started. So I appreciate your patience, and I apologize for being just a little bit tardy.
That's quite all right. It's quite all right. I'm happy to have you on the show. I am so appreciative that you're a brand new Money Talk with Melanie sponsor. I don't know if I sent you the commercials like in a couple of different mediums. I hope hopefully they were okay. And I played.
Oh my God!
Did you like them?
Oh my God! Those were so professionally done. They were jamming. They're awesome. And unfortunately, I knew you were on the air because I wanted to ask you how we can modify them for something. Because based on the quality of those, I'm already going to hire you and your team to do some overlays for me, video and a few other things. So I'm really looking forward to spending my money with you.
I love it. I actually have some other things that I can do, and we can definitely talk about that off the air. For sure.
Cool.
There's some ways that we can expand that situation. I apologize to my audience for talking business real quick, but that's kind of what I do. So give the audience a little bit about your background as a credit analyst.
Well, I'll tell you guys, what happened is I started about 9 years ago with credit repair. And what happened, I used to outsource it. Different companies offered, different prices basically, but for one of my other businesses, we used to outsource for credit repair. And what kind of led to this was, I think a lot of folks can identify with, credit challenges, especially post 2008. So, unfortunately, the mortgage meltdown caused a lot of problems for people with their credit and other stuff. So, I used to outsource it, and what happened is a lot of these other companies, I was dealing with some guy out of Arizona, another guy in Texas, somebody in Mississippi or Florida, and I tell you, it was the price differential. One person would charge $1,000, and another guy would charge $2,500, and it really pained me to have to refer my clients to to people charging those what I felt was exorbitant prices, and so really after having thought about it, my partner said, "Why don't we do this ourselves?" And because the only difference between the guy charging $1,000 and the one charging $2,500 was $1,500. Basically, they just threw numbers out there, and if people paid it, then so be it. But there weren't any guarantees, and so that was the difference. So Mr. Credit Repair Incorporated, MrCreditRepair.biz, was born out of necessity. The goal was to bring a high quality product and service to the masses, at the lowest possible cost. Credit itself is already it's already exasperating. It's already emotional, and so for me, it was important to be able to deliver something to people that they can say, "You know what, man? Somebody actually care about us. Somebody care about me," and it's priced in a manner that is totally affordable, so you're not really thinking about it. For $299 one time, a $299 one-time payment, what we do, unlike any other company in the country, we offer same-day credit repair. So, same-day credit repair. a lot of people who actually do credit repair, they kind of hate me. Okay, so how are we able to do that?
That's what I would really like to know, because I have researched this and I've talked about this on my show, and so I am really interested in how your service differs from the rest of the world.
Of course, it's really simple. You go to, and I'm not going to name names, but if people can research and Google it, mostly any other company that does credit repair, they do a credit review, and then they do a credit review, and then they're going to charge you not for the review, and then typically you're going to pay monthly for ongoing engagement.
Right. I want to just interrupt real quick, because Lori Platt said same day, and I said that's what I just heard, Lori. So somebody in the chat just said that.
I understand. Well, and let me explain to them. Same day means basically I created this around your lunch period. So just think about it if you're local. You don't have to be local to me, but just think about it if you've been wanting to get some work done. If you can just stop off somewhere or drop off your documentation on your lunch break, go get your sandwich, eat your lunch, take 45 minutes or so, and pick those documents back up within that hour. I think that's something that adds value. And so that's how we're able to do it. We created a system where we literally do perform the service the same day. So I don't want the listeners to misunderstand. Obviously, we're not repairing the credit and having any kind of impact on the same day. But the service itself is being performed the same day, typically within an hour.
Wow. And that is, yeah, because it typically is like this long, drawn-out process.
Exactly. And so with that being said, we pull the credit, we extract all the scores and the negative information, and design a credit repair plan of action specifically for each individual. But with that plan of action, we issue a credit repair blueprint, but the actual outlining, setting up the dispute, documentation, we do that the same day. We priority the campaigns out to each bureau that same day. It takes the bureaus typically 2 or 3 days to actually open it up. You got to remember, these companies probably have millions of people disputing things on their credit. So it's going to take about 2 or 3 days for them to actually open it up, and then typically 10 to 14 days before the individuals begin receiving correspondence, not only from the individual creditors, but also from the credit bureaus. And with my system, that's what we do. Same day process. The results typically are within 21 days, and all for only $2.99 one time. But that's only the beginning. All our clients get access to our portal, the client portal, which means they can track their progress and their process. They can upload documentation that they receive from the credit bureaus or the creditors directly into the system. That's how we're able to monitor what's happening on their accounts from their perspective. We send out a ton of ongoing engagement to them every week, which just how-to tips and tricks, very useful things. But here's the real kicker. We do a new credit repair campaign every single month for an entire year.
Wow. So,
yes.
Okay, now explain what that is, just so we're clear. You said you do a new one every month for an entire year, and Shelton wants to know that's for $299.
One time, yes.
Okay, and
Are we able to do it?
And when you say a campaign, what does that entail? When you say we do a campaign every month for a year?
Well, see, here's the thing. There are hundreds of disputes. There are hundreds of reasons why people dispute their credit. So what we do is in our initial credit review with our client,
outline or identify which accounts that they are disputing, and we go after them. So let's use a scenario where you have 10 accounts, 10 credit accounts, and let's say 5 of them are derogatory and 5 are current. Obviously, we'll go after the 5 derogatory accounts. Well, in that initial campaign, maybe only 3 of that 5 will get deleted, and that'll leave us with 2. What happens is, so that very next month, we're going to continue to do a more aggressive campaign against the remaining items. And up until, for a whole year, we will literally go after it. Does it take that long? Well, of course not. But that is our mission. That is in our service agreement. You got me for 12 whole months, as is needed. And even to clarify that, go a little step further, I guess. Some people have literally, we've restored their credit and cleared items. And do you know they've gone out and got new cars or new credit cards and different stuff within the same year and have ruined their credit again and came back?
Oh, good Lord. So I have questions in the Facey chat. Someone wants to know what how long you've been in business, and are you rated with the Better Business Bureau? Which, we can have a whole nother show about the Better Business Bureau, but it is a good question.
Exactly. Well, let's see. I've been in business again since 2009.
Okay.
As far as this company is concerned, Mr. Credit Repair Incorporated, but I don't pay the Better Business Bureau.
Right.
So I'm sure we're rated, but, and I just keep it candid with people. Do I need to pay for a rating? I actually prefer to let our performance speak for itself. Our clients, people reach out. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Mr. Credit. We're on Twitter at Mr. Credit Fix, and I'm around. I'm on Yelp, so you could find me in all those areas where we can't control the data flow. So if people want to put reviews up, you can't delete reviews.
Right.
All you can do is handle it, and I think that's important. We're very transparent. But even more so, I'm a small company. We have agents who work for us as far as processing the campaigns, but I'm very, very strict with privacy. So there's only a few people who are going to review your information at all and have access to it. I talk and speak personally with every one of our clients. So it's not, they're not a number. It's a very personalized service that we're able to offer, and that's important to me.
That's a good point. Thank you, Lori, for asking that question. That's a great question. But I will say that, and just to be clear, Lori didn't say specifically the Better Business Bureau. She just asked what the rating was. I threw in the Better Business Bureau, and also partially because I wanted to take the opportunity to throw a little bit of shade their way, because I just thought it was important to bring up that while, listen, I'm not saying that the Better Business Bureau is like a bad place to look at ratings. I'm not saying like it's horrible. But what I am saying, that much like everything these days, there is some bias there, because you can pay, like Robert mentioned. He said, I don't pay for my rating. That's because he knew exactly what I was getting at, which is that with the Better Business Bureau, you can pay for a higher rating. So that's the rub with the Better Business Bureau. So like the bigger companies that have those AAA ratings, I take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, because they can afford to make sure that it stays that way with the Better Business Bureau. So I've seen reports on it. So I wanted to make sure that I imparted that information to my audience, for those who may or may not have been aware of that about the Better Business Bureau. So I just wanted to put, yeah. So I wanted to put that out there. Thank you, Lori, for asking that question. I appreciate it. So you do a number of things in addition to credit repair. You don't only do credit repair. You do loans and other things, correct?
Absolutely. I have a company, Any Kind Loan Funding. We're a mortgage lender, broker. We can provide any type of loan funding, residential or commercial mortgages. We can fund loans in any city, any state in the country, whether it's a new home purchase, whether it's a refinance, whether it's a fix and flip. You know, a lot of people want to buy something, they want to fix a property up and resell it. We have products for that, up to 100%. Literally, we can do anything. Myself, as a mortgage professional, I've been in the business since 1995. I started in Columbus, Ohio.
Really?
Yes. I'm an Ohio native. Went to high school up in Cleveland area. Went to college at Ohio State. I got into mortgages in 95, and actually, mortgages put me through college. So,
really? You've been doing it that long?
Yes. At my young age, I'm literally a veteran. More than half of my life has been in mortgage lending.
Oh, Chris Levels wants me to put the website up again, which is MrCreditRepair.com. I better know because you're a sponsor. No, .biz.
.biz.
Yeah, I corrected myself.
Oh, by the way.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interject, but I want all of your listeners to know, as a special for this show, everybody's getting $100 off of our standard service today. So if they were listening in on the Money Talk with Melanie, they get $100 off.
Nice.
So so that's $199 to get their credit repaired and get into our campaign. And I will even throw you in one better. For that same price, I will make that for couples. So if you got a husband and wife want to get it going, basically $200 for both.
Look at you. Well, I appreciate you doing that for my listeners. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. I love it. Thank you. That's awesome. I'm sure my listeners thank you. I have a feeling they'll be reaching out to you. And by the way, haven't had a chance to talk to you today, but I received a couple of emails that we need to discuss. Because, of course, I sent your information out in an email yesterday. And I got a couple of emails back from people who are like, yeah, can I talk to him?
Absolutely. Give people my number. It's area code 818-579-5215. Once again, that is 818-579-5215. I'm in California, but you know, we work anywhere in the country. You guys, you can call me from 8 a.m. Pacific time, which is 11 Eastern, up until 7 o'clock Pacific time. So I keep those hours just in case there's people who get off work, they're a little tired back east, and you want to kind of eat and do your thing and then call. I'm available for you all the time.
Now, good, excellent, thank you. Now let me ask you something. Do you, as a credit repair person, and this may seem like a counterintuitive question, but do you, like most places, offer, like most of the credit repair-y places, offer any type of credit counseling, so that this doesn't happen again, that kind of thing, or is that like counterintuitive to your business?
Well, no, it's not counterintuitive at all. Actually, I think that is exactly what we're in it for. The goal. Restoring your credit is one thing, but the maintenance and tips and tricks that's the other side. So it's kind of how to maintain. A lot of people know stuff, whether they do or don't is another story. But do we provide a lot of insight? Absolutely, and I keep them in the loop. We continue to send out information through the Mr. Credit Repair site on what we're doing, and some things that they can consider, like how to add more trade lines to your credit, or the things they consider, like how to keep your balances at a certain number, what the creditors are looking for, things that will impact your scores. So I send out a lot of that information because it's insightful, it's helpful, and it's for free. You don't have to subscribe to it to get the info. It's kind of like, we all know how to make a hamburger.
Right.
We still occasionally go to McDonald's or Burger King. know,
That's true.
People want to know how stuff works, and me, I'm of the ilk where you give the information away. It's important. Give it away, and if they come back to you, great. But in the end, what are we in it for? We're in it to help people. We're in it to educate. So that's what I'm here for.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But people, unfortunately, a lot of times just don't follow directions. That's the thing. Like we know what we need to do to lose weight, right? Most of us, right? But do we do it? Do we do it to keep our weight off? Do we? You know what I mean?
I'm guilty too.
Right. It's like we never, some of us just don't do what needs to be done. And I say that about financial health all the time. Like because it's the exact same principle. You're fighting the ugly things, the distasteful things that you have to do for your financial health are very similar to the things that you have to do for your physical health. Same stuff.
Exactly.
That you just don't want to do. So that's good to know that you do that. What other services are there that you provide that we need to know about?
Well, the relevant stuff. This has kind of been my thing: credit building, helping people to start new corporations and build them. I build businesses with them, help them with their Dun & Bradstreet, setting up accounts, merchant accounts, setting up vendor accounts for new businesses or existing ones. Mostly it's, credit repair is a great lead generator. And then, like other things, most of our clients are probably like just regular. They're going somewhere. They want something. So people either want to buy something or they want to refinance something or they want to start something. And so we're able to deliver solutions. We are in no way a one-dimensional company. I'm a full-service real estate and mortgage brokerage with credit, prop management, and business credit, business funding. So that's it. When I do speaking engagements, I recently spoke at a real estate investors group at one of their gold meetings, and it's interestingly enough, you got about 300 people there, and there's a mortgage guy. An A-paper mortgage guy up there. There was some hard money lender up there. There was an appraiser, and then there was me. And it's kind of like in those environments, I'm not there to compete. I'm just there to add value. And I think when people go to enough of those meetings and they're just going, you got a ton of folks who just kind of show up just to tell their friends and family that they're in real estate, even though they never buy anything.
Well, that's true.
They just showing up. I'm here. They say, what you do for a living? Oh, man, I'm in real estate. So they just it feels good to be a part of something. Well, there's something that keeps them going, but maybe, and I think it's because they're not finding what they're looking for. And that's a problem universally across the country. You run into these groups, some of these platforms, and everybody doing the same thing. And so for Mr. Credit Repair Inc. and our family of companies, the Robert Houston family of companies, we offer solutions that have practical use right now, things that can impact your life or your business right now. And if you happen to, some of those things are going to overlap, but even better, why? Well, because the goal is you got to start somewhere and then end up where you're trying to go. You can't get the 10 if you miss 1 through 9.
That's very true. And what I like about the way your business is structured is that it's very interactive with it, because generating leads is probably one of the hardest things, at least I find, about being in business is lead generation and finding the niche where you can have multiple streams of income that work together. Like, for example, with the real estate and credit repair, those are, streams of business that feed each other.
Absolutely.
So, because if you find somebody who can't get their house because their credit's not good enough, bam, you got an instant, client for that. And then once you do that, then you have an instant client for real estate. So it works both ways. my feed went down and I had to jump back on Facebook, and Lori missed a couple of minutes about the small business lending. So if you would not mind repeating, that was my fault, not hers. Well, actually Facebook's fault because they kicked me off. But if you wouldn't mind repeating what you said about what you guys do with small business lending, I'd appreciate it.
Well, small business lending, let's elaborate. Basically, let's assume you start up a new business, Acme Corp, investments, whatever. Well, what we do with that, we're going to help you build and develop that company. If you want to set up the corp yourself, that's great, but we have several levels from which you can choose from. But the overall gist is setting up your new company, tax ID, building out your Dun & Bradstreet profile and the credit builder. So if you are, you can go to Dun & Bradstreet yourself, and I think it's like $1,200 for their credit builder program. Through my company, we're able to build out your D&B profile and help you build your business credit to get your paydex score to the highest levels through that system. Additionally, we set up your nationwide 411 listing. We kind of prep them with the goal of getting loans, unsecured loans for their business, through their business. And it's not always, everybody's not the same, but in terms of their capacity. Some people have a business, they're making a little money, or they may have a job and they're making some money, but they have other goals. So they don't know that you can utilize a business checking account to get money. You see, some people, and those are tips and tricks or useful things that you can do with having a business checking versus just putting money in your personal checking. We set up 20 vendor accounts outside of Home Depot and Best Buy. There are a ton of corporations that people used to think you needed to have 2 years in business in order to be able to establish credit. Well, we've already defied those norms. Those, with the ever-changing climate for businesses, they have to make it credit more accessible. So we're able to set up accounts for our clients as well with that process. And again, with the ultimate goal of what to get money. A lot of people they want to set up a business, they want to have the business, but they want it to look good online. And a lot of times, see, creditors they'll issue you credit just based on your presence, on your profile. So we help and counsel our clients. We're going to do the work for them, but we counsel them on how the importance of having your Facebook page, your Twitter page, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, and all your stuff kind of synced in. So if you're going to do this right, then you kind of want that. You want your look to be the same, and all your numbers are the same in every place,
Right.
And that stuff's important. I mean, see, for most people, it's very nuanced work. I mean, literally, it's just tedious stuff. There's nothing exciting about it. But me, I learned how to do this. I was setting up businesses back in 2004, helping people. And I'll tell you the story, how that happened. I used to sell single-family residences around LA County, zoned for 2, 3, 4, or 5 units. So basically, you take a single-family residence that you can maybe build up to 4 more units to it. So you have yourself a 5-unit apartment. I used to sell those properties to investors, and then what happened is that they would need help with the construction loans. So I'd set up the business and help them access capital through a business loan, so they can qualify for the construction of that property. Well, what happened is a lot of those people back then, I was going to those groups. I mean, I know, Montalongos and the Nouveau Riches and a bunch of these different groups from back in the day.
Right.
Well, I used to go to their meetings. I would never join. I'm going in there just to meet people. And the folks knew it. They knew I wasn't going to join, so they just made me a part of the process because I was adding value. Well, all those investors, those people weren't full-time. They had jobs. So oftentimes they come to me and say, "Hey, Robert, I need help. You sold me this property, man, but I can't take it to the next level. So please help me." So all of a sudden, I'm doing construction and other stuff too. Just kind of being able to, it's all just management. I was able to management and direct traffic, build good teams, build a good system. And that's where I learned how to, through literally getting my hands dirty, both feet, working on my own stuff and other people, building businesses and learn how to build business credit. And ironically, my post-2008 business full-time was business credit building for a couple of years.
Really? You're giving people in the chat like big ideas. You're giving me big ideas. Like I'm sitting here like, and the thing is, none of this information is new to me. It's like I said in the chat, like, because Celeste in the chat said this is giving me some. I had no idea, and I said I had an idea. It's the stuff that he's talking about has been on my list. But what you said about it being tedious, setting up your business, it's tedious. And I've been trying to do it myself. But it's very right. I mean, I have my own tax ID number. I have a lot of it done. All of my social media and my website and all that stuff is pretty consistent. All that stuff is good. But that next level stuff that you were talking about isn't done yet. Is it on my list? And I'm not going to mention some of it because I need to protect my business. But because people will be like, "Oh, really? Let me steal that." But yeah, it's very tedious to do all that needs to be done to have your business set up properly.
Yes.
It's very true, and that's why I was saying, none of this is new. And there's a whole like project task list called Money Talk with Melanie that has more stuff on it. But yeah. So but it can be tedious. I had no idea, but what I didn't know was that there was a company that provides a service like that. And Lori said, I bet because construction went to hell in 2008. But Lori also said me too, and Celeste agrees as well. Doug in the chat asked about Acorn, but I asked him if he was talking about the union or the investment company. So I'm waiting for Doug to get back to
That's
me.
Right. Everybody knows somebody, some group, or something somewhere, and that's all fine and dandy. It's kind of like real estate mortgages. People, I had a guy recently attempt to sell some packages of properties to me, and what happened is I got a slew of emails. Like I'm looking at them, like, what are all these emails? The same guy, about 10 of them, right? He just sends me a bunch of emails, but he didn't take the time to clean them up. He just forwarded them to me, but no email signature.
Right.
And so, so I'm thinking, what the heck is this? And so I'm looking through them, and I found a number. I called the number, and I said, "Hey, is this such and such?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Hey, man, well, you're just forwarding me a bunch of stuff. What do you want me to do with this?" And he says, "Well, I want you to buy something. If you like something, put in an offer." I said, "Okay, just like that, huh?" And then I asked him, I said, "Let me ask you, brother, just because, you got my experience, my spidey sense was going off." I said, "You got a regular job, or are you doing this full time?" He said, "I work at Sarah Lee." I said, "Okay." So he's working at Sarah Lee, and then he's trying to be a real estate agent / wholesaler on the side. And I asked him, "How did you get into this?" He said he was watching the infomercials at about 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh dear.
And hey, I can sell real estate too. I can make a lot of money. I can be a fix and flipper. I can do all this and that. And unfortunately, them shows, and I believe we all know that those shows have been debunked. People know that that's entertainment, but they sell in a dream. And there are many people making money in selling real estate or flipping properties and doing it, but it's not that simple. And I'm only going in that to say that everybody knows somebody with a real estate license or doing mortgage loans and credit repair or even business credit building. There's a lot of people out there that with this, all of those industry businesses or affiliations at some point in time had a negative stigma associated to it, kind of like used cars. But in the end, what happens is it's the longevity. And after a while, you talk to some people, and since there's so many people who are out there perpetrating, then a lot of times that's where the stories come from, right? The stories are going to be generated from people. You go to ABC company and they don't know what they're doing, you're going to have a bad experience. And so then, from that bad experience, depending on the type of personality you are, you may or may not proceed forward. So let's assume that you do. Well, then you're like, okay, I had a bad experience with this company, so let me go to the next one. But if you don't change your approach, well, then you're probably going to keep running into some of those same types. And that's how people start building profiles, you know, and ultimately that individual they'll have a negative view of people in a particular industry because their experience has been bad. And so by the time they meet someone like myself, not only do I have to overcome just the business itself or whatever their goals are and their apprehension, I got to overcome that experience they've had or the multiples. And I've heard so many stories of people saying, you know, I just paid out $1,000 to this company or $35 to this company and this and that. And I'm thinking, wow. So you have to know how to handle it. Sometimes we can overcome those challenges. Other times we can't. I mean, that's life. But all in all, I think for me, it's just listening and understanding. I listen to comprehend.
Lots of people don't do that on lots of levels. That's why, you know, everybody's always fighting on my social media page. If people read for comprehension, that wouldn't happen.
And I know because I've been seeing some of your posts, and I'll be on there too. You know, kind of pushing people. And I think what people like yourself and myself, where we've come to, is what keeps us going. I think they've coined the phrase "keeping it real," but it's even deeper than that. You have to live that life. You have to be that person innately. It's in your heart. It's in your soul. It's in everything that you do. Being committed to excellence, wanting to help people, genuinely help folks, but you can't take no mess because we're kind of in the public eye in a sense.
Right.
So people gonna come at you with a lot of stuff, and ultimately it's all how we respond. And so sitting back, letting somebody just yell at you and go at it and spew doesn't mean you're weak. That just means actually it makes you strong because you're not reacting. You're just letting them get it out. A lot of times people just need to get their frustration out. They just want somebody to understand.
True. I've learned that. You'll notice that now, and you may or may not notice, now when I start getting notifications and I see two people are fighting, I just let it go. I'm like, okay, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. Doug was talking about Acorn, the investment company, which is what I thought he was talking about. I just wanted to make sure. Are you familiar with them?
I've heard of Acorn.
I like them. I use them. I like them. I don't know. Have you ever used them at all?
No.
Okay. I like them. I've had an account with them for maybe 2 years. And it really is, in my opinion, Doug, like one of the most painless ways to put money away without noticing. Seriously. Yeah.
Well, I learned some tips and tricks about that. I started in this business way back when I was like 21. And, when you're 21 years old and you start, I used to actually, I was collecting student loans for a company. And what happened is one day I got a call in, and I'm not going to bore you guys with the story, but I got a call in, and I happened to answer the phone that day, and it was a guy that said, his name was Mike Smith, and he worked for, at the time, Long Beach Mortgage Company, and he told me he could help me close more sales. And I was a young guy, I could only make maximum at the time $3,200 a month. I had a $1,600 a month base salary, and my commission was maxed out at $1,600. So no matter how much volume over and above that I did, I can only make $1,600. And I did okay. When you're 20 years old, it's not too bad. $3 grand a month, $3,200 a month. So what happened is this guy called in. I answered the phone. I said, boom. I sent him some deals. One day he called back, and I said, Mike, tell me more about what you do, and he did. And in doing so, I found there was an office not far from where the office was that I was working. And I called up, talked to the manager. He hired me right away because I knew how to read a credit report. And I knew skip trade. That had some usefulness, And so anyway, I'm at that job, and it's basically, it's $2 grand a month. It's a grind, but I'm working for a bank, and it's all good. Our best rate, hell, back then was $8.99 at 80%. So.
Oh, that's nothing now.
So what happened is the office next door was also Long Beach Mortgage, but it turns out that was their wholesale department.
Ah, okay.
What did I notice about them over there? That they dressed better, and they were never around.
I was going to get to that. I was hoping you were going to get to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said that's where I need to be.
Exactly, so, because go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, so I went in the next day and quit, and I put in a month at that grind. I saw that the guys were next door making money, and I said, that's it. And so I quit that job, and I was living with a girlfriend at the time, and we had our little apartment. And I went back and I said, hey, I quit that job. I said, but I found a company that is willing to pay me $1,000 a month, whether I close anything or not. And then, but here's the upside. She said, do what you got to do. You're 21, man. Ain't nobody tripping. You just do it. Just go, because we can do anything.
Right, of course.
And a month and a half, the guy brought me in named Dan Magoo at U.S. Family Mortgage, and was at the time in Columbus. He took me and he said, Houston, this is all you do, man. He said, here's a lead. He said, this is what the people call in. Our telemarketers talk to folks. Here's what this is what the rate is. This is where they live. This is all the significant data, blah, blah, blah. He said, this is all you need to do, man, is call these people up and you talk to them. He said, call them up and talk to them, man. Answer their questions if you can. And he said, but if you got to call them and get some questions. He said, if you get stuck, don't act like you didn't know anything. He said, just put them on hold or tell them you get back to them. And so that's just what I did. And after a month and a half, I closed my first deal, and I never looked back. And so that's my story of mortgage lending. I've been in this business so long. It's trial and error in my life. And I was going back to the point we were making about what the money aspect is. Nobody ever told me about money. I don't come from any money. I just come from my stepdad had his own business. My mom eventually, she was a executive chef, and then that was really it. But nobody ever taught me about money. But my stepdad taught me about money. Was he showed me 20 grand one day and said, "Here, see this?" I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I thought we was rich, and that's it. And I got everything I ever wanted all the time as a kid growing up because I was an only child. So that's what I learned about money. Now then, it fast forward, being a young dude, you're making 10 grand a month. When you're 22, 23. You think you can do anything.
Yeah, you're balling.
No, I'm balling.
Right.
And you can make all the mistakes in the world, but you really don't. When I look back on that, I didn't make all those mistakes. The only thing I didn't do was save any money. Because I'm living, right? You're traveling, you got nice stuff, you got your clothes, you're going out of the country, you're doing things, mom and dad getting some dollars, and you're feeling good. You eating $100, $200 dinners. And it's no big deal. That's normal life, right? I didn't experience a lot of the drawback stuff until my 30s. I bought my first house when I was 30 years old out here in California in 2004. A little 2-bedroom, 1 bath over on Normandy and Florence. If any of your listeners know South LA, I bought my first house on 68th and Normandy in South LA. And, I bought that house for $250. I got 35 grand back, and that was a comeback for me. And I never looked back and started running again. But what had happened is a couple years later, I made a couple bad decisions, and I lost everything.
Dave Ramsey did that too. Same thing.
Yeah.
I want to say twice. Yeah.
I have been homeless twice in my life. I know what it's like to be out there, going, just not knowing where your next meal is coming from. Anything. I remember going into a grocery store, man, and going to steal the little 8-piece fried chicken because I was broke. But I had a job. I was just broke. I had no money, but I was working. And so I know what it's like to go through it, being in the homeless shelter and doing that. So my thing about money and saving is simply this: you got to go through it to get through it. Some people have it handed to them, and it's forced on them in a sense for their benefit. Others of us have to go through it. We learn, we live our best life that we can, and through trial and error, you figure it out. And so at 44, I don't know if I got it figured out. I mean, I ain't broke.
Well, I will tell you, as a financial, as an independent financial professional, the hardest part of my job, the hardest group to convince that they need to protect their money are people like you described. The middle income people that are like out there killing it, making money, because they don't think it can ever end. So it can be very difficult to convince them that life insurance is important, that disability insurance outside of your job is important, that having a portable version of that is important, because bad things do happen in an instant, and you want to have your income protected. Those people that make money like that make six figures, are the hardest people to convince to protect their money. It's really kind of weird, because they feel like they're always going to have money, but it's not true.
Well, and I agree with you. I totally agree. We've seen it. I've seen so much just like you. And for those of your listeners listening in, hey guys, call Melanie right now. Have her with an orange account, an IRA, a mutual something. Just put something away.
Exactly.
Because they say most people can't afford $1,000 emergency, financial emergency.
Yep, it's true.
And so that's kind of the thing. If you sit back, if you don't have $10,000 in the bank, then you're doing something wrong. And when I say wrong, not as an admonishment, I'm just saying that something needs to change. Maybe feel like you're not earning enough income. Well, then how do we offset that? By increasing your employability, your marketability. We have to see where we can cut costs, see where we can cut down on a lifestyle. There's a lot of things we have to do that we are responsible for the change that we seek.
Exactly. And something really crazy can happen. Like I know a story of a friend who was jumping on a trampoline with their kid, makes six figures, and fell and ended up paralyzed. Could no longer make that six figures for his family. Fortunately, a friend had convinced him to get disability insurance that he originally fought. And he called him and was like, thank God you made me do that, because I would be in bigger trouble than I am now. Like, at least my family now is not, in trouble. So it's, it is something to really, and people always think like it's not going to happen to me. It's just, but listen, I want you to, in the last couple minutes to close of the show, if you want to repeat that offer that you made in the middle of the show to my listeners, now would probably be a good time to do that, and let people know how they can get in contact with you if they'd like to avail themselves of your services.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Again, this is Robert Houston, CEO, Senior Credit Analyst of Mr. Credit Repair Incorporated. That's Mr. MR Credit Repair.biz. My direct line is Again, 818-579-5215. Give me a call. You're going to talk directly to me. You're not a number. Our standard credit repair service for 1 year, no monthly payment, same-day process. Results are in 21 days. New campaign every month. You get access to the credit portal to track your progress. Is only $2.99. But today, for every listener in on the Money Talk with Melanie show, $100 off our standard $2.99 service. But in addition to that, if you're a couple, if you're a husband and wife, what I'm really trying to tell y'all is if you and your boyfriend or your mom and dad, your baby mama, baby daddy, whatever, $199 for two people. $199 for two people. You got to be who are together coming on the Money Talk with Melanie show.
Excellent. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. This has been informative and useful and fantastic, and I'm looking forward. Thank you for being a brand new sponsor for Money Talk with Melanie. I appreciate it so much. I'm looking forward to doing business with you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless. You all have been listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. Thank you all so very much for listening to the show today. It's really been a good time for me. I hope it's been a good time for you guys. If you have not heard the entire show, it's been 2 hours. I will post the podcast on my page. I might break it up into 2 separate ones so that you can listen to them separately if you want to. I can do that as well. I haven't decided on how I'm going to do that with the 2 hours, but I may do that as well. So if you want to listen to just Robert Houston, or you want to just listen to the Burgess Owens portion, you can do that. But I have had a great time, and you guys totally rock. If you're listening to this via SHR Media, thank you. If you're listening to this via any of the podcast vehicles, I appreciate you as well. And all of you who have been interacting in the Facey chat, you know I love you, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Remember, all of this is important because after all, it's your money. Have a great weekend.